Welcome, everyone. My name is Mike Pruett. I'm a retired CPA. I have a master's in taxation. I've been with Toastmasters in the most recent time since 2018. And I've got everything done for my DTM except a special project. And so I'm going to do this special project. It's all about new member orientations. Now, I've got to apologize ahead of time. They say that there's one thing that's required to becoming a CPA, and that is that you fail the personality portion of the mortician's exam. So I might not be the best personality, but I'm going to give it a try here. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And let's see if my host, who's my host? Can you let me share?
They should have made you a co-host in the main room. Because none of us
There we
can do
go.
it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I can find my way to where I want to be here. Here we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. New member orientation, how to turn new members into enthusiastic long-term members. I am in love with the new member orientation. When I was vice president,
I've been in the meeting for
what? When I was vice president of education,
I got on at about 8 o'clock. I really wanted to be there, but I've been here the whole time, and I went to the secretary.
Can we
mute that person?
Yeah, can we mute Jan here? Okay. So when I was vice president of education, I found out somehow I stumbled across this new member orientation, and I was so excited to use it with people. They just loved it. This really, really helped them get excited about Toastmasters. So the problem is I'm always worried about my tech skills, and you know we're working against Murphy's Law here. You never know, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So, but my question is, does anybody know about O'Doul's corollary? O'Doul's corollary? That is Murphy, huh?
Pray tell us.
Murphy was an optimist. Okay, so we're going to push forward here. The Toastmasters mission statement: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I love this statement, building self-confidence and personal growth. That's what we're all about. The amazing thing to me is the new member orientation handout tells you how Toastmasters goes about accomplishing this mission statement. Okay, so our agenda for today is we're going to review the form 1167J, which explains the new member orientation. And then we're going to do a role play about the new member orientation interview. We have Cynthia Scott here to help me with that. And then finally, we're going to look at a tracker spreadsheet that I've developed to not only help go through the new member orientation interview, but also keep track of the progress of your members. The result of me using all these tools was that when I was VPE, we had 19 level completions. We were just supercharged. We had 3 speeches in each club. We had a lot of enthusiasm. So I want to share this with you and see if you get some ideas that can help you supercharge your club as well. Okay, this is what the 1167J looks like. It is 3.5 pages of almost single space text. And so we're going to go through this. It's 21 pages. And I've got Diane, Dwayne, and Kate to help me read. So I will call on them when I need help, and we will move forward. Okay, what do new members need? Dwayne, can you read for me?
Absolutely. New members need an opportunity to discuss their problems and needs before embarking on a self-development program.
Thank you. Diana, can you read that for me?
Of course. What new members need an opportunity to discuss their problems and needs before embarking on self-development program. They need specific information about the Toastmasters program and how it works and how to get the most out of it and what is expected from them, etc.
Thank you. And how about Kate? Could you read that for me?
Finally, they need to feel welcome. They need to be at ease, to sense that the club really cares about them and wants to help them.
Aren't those incredible concepts? I just love reading through this. Okay, why conduct an orientation? People who join your club usually have a problem or a need pertaining to public speaking or leadership and are convinced that Toastmasters can help them. Before new members can become integral components of your club's membership, they must confront two types of anxiety. Dwayne, will you read that one?
You're on mute.
Dwayne. Okay, I'll read it. One is the idea of standing before an audience and presenting a speech or leading a meeting. And the second anxiety is the normal human concern associated with joining any unfamiliar group or seeking acceptance. Now, when I think about this, helping people overcome anxiety, it kind of makes me think we need to put on our therapist hat, right? And where we're talking about therapy, dealing with anxiety, one of the common concepts is this idea of a Freudian slip. You ever heard of a Freudian slip?
Yep.
When you say one thing, but you mean another? Well, there's another version of that I like. It's called when you say one thing, but you mean your mother. Okay. I love what Stephen R. Covey says in his 7 Habits of Successful People. That is that first we seek to understand and then we seek to be understood. So this is a big part of it is we're going to try to understand our new members and then let them know that we understand. Okay, creating a social contract. Whether you think of it in these terms or not, the act of someone joining your Toastmasters club implies a social contract. When accepting a new member, your club is agreeing to provide an enjoyable environment in which the member can learn, grow, and achieve. Dwayne, would you read that one?
In return, the new member is expected to behave in agreement with a Toastmasters promise and policy 3.0 ethics and conduct.
Thank you. And Diana?
When accepting a new member, your club is
Number 4, please.
provide. Oh, what was that, Mike?
The bullet number 4.
Oh, right. When both parties live up to this social contract, your club will have a loyal, valuable member who will obtain meaningful benefits from its membership.
Thank you. Now, we have a member in our club who I really like. Is an awesome guy, Daniel Zhu. And he has a saying about bullets. We're going to have a lot of bullets in this. He said, his saying is, bullets kill. So I hope we don't kill anybody today. But speaking of killing, let me ask you a question. What do Japanese cannibals eat? The answer is ramen. Okay, moving along. Kate, can you read this one for us?
Yes, if either party breaks the social contract, the member club relationship will be neither satisfactory or long-lasting. And to me, it's important to note that you can have like set policy for what the contract should be and actual bonding between the members and the new member, and that is just as important.
Thank you, Kate. And I want to encourage anyone who has some ideas, some suggestions, would like to speak up. You are welcome to do that.
I have a question. I haven't had my hand raised. I want to
Okay.
know if you're going to provide these slides, or should we just take screenshots?
I would be happy to provide these slides. Yes.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, let's see. Dwayne, can you read this for us?
The orientation is an excellent opportunity for both the member and the club to learn what is expected of them. A good orientation can, without mentioning it as such, establish a social contract that is firm, satisfying, and mutually beneficial.
Thank you. Oops, let me go back just a sec. Okay, so when I look at contract, what does that make you think of? Contract, it makes me think of lawyers. I have a son who recently got his law degree, and after he got it, well, he actually started with a bachelor's in civil engineering, then he got a master's in civil engineering. He worked for 10 years as a geotechnical engineer, got married, had 4 kids, and then he decided what he really wanted to do was be a lawyer. So he was able to get a scholarship to go to law school. When he completed, passed the bar, he told me something that really, it made me kind of sad. He says, Dad, I think I would have liked to go to law school right after my bachelor's degree, but you kept telling me all these lawyer jokes and it made me afraid. And I said, lawyer jokes like what? Like, what does a lawyer do when he sleeps at night? First he lies on one side, then he lies on the other. Or what did the lawyer name his daughter? Sue. What did he name his son? Bill? He said, yeah. So anyway, that's my warning. Don't tell lawyer jokes to your kids. You might discourage them from becoming a lawyer. Okay, here we go. Keep on going. The orientation interview. The recommended format for the new member orientation interview is a 2-way interview led by the Vice President of Education. And if you wish, you may include the new member's sponsor or mentor. If we were doing this, I would probably have a whiteboard up in front and I might be making notes and things like that. I have a question for you. What is so great about the invention of a whiteboard? It's remarkable. Okay, here we go. Here's some tips for a successful orientation interview. Dwayne, would you read for us?
Let's see. Create a favorable climate. Don't conduct an orientation interview during a club meeting. Instead, hold it in a quiet, pleasant place where all the participants feel comfortable and at ease. The interview doesn't have to be lengthy. It could be 15 or 20 minutes. That should be adequate.
Thank you. My experience is when we get to the interview part and people start talking about what their needs and their wants are and how they hope Toastmasters can help them. Sometimes these interviews go 30 to 60 minutes, like a therapy session. And people really get excited. And I just love doing it. Okay, Diana Paula.
Develop a personal rapport. Take a few minutes to acquainted. You may wish to share some of your Toastmasters experiences with a new member and discuss how your club membership has benefited you or other people.
When I do this, one thing I like to talk about is Dwayne and how he doubled his income after he was in Toastmasters for a while and learned how to handle impromptu questions and all this kind of things. That's something that I like to share. Okay, let's see. How about Kate?
Got to turn on my volume, sorry. Be attentive and show genuine interest. This is important in convincing the new member that your club cares about them and wants to help.
Good. Now, all of these points are in the 1167J. And I actually like to read through that whole thing because there's just so many good ideas in there before I sit down and have the interview with them. Okay, Dwayne, did you go again?
Be positive and enthusiastic. Enthusiasm is infectious. If you reflect confidence that Toastmasters can significantly benefit the new member, some of your audience confidence will rub off. The new member's negative anxieties will be replaced by positive self-confidence.
Thank you. And Diana Paula.
Be prepared. Prepare yourself to the questions a new member might ask about Toastmasters or your club.
Thank you so much. Now, part of this is getting the basic information about people, which it comes on form 1162F. And these are the basic questions that are covered there. Those are things that will be covered. If you haven't got it ahead of time on the sheet, we'll cover that in the interview. Here's what the new member profile sheet looks like. Okay, how can the orientation help? Kate, would you read that for us?
Sorry about that. My screen shifted. An orientation helps new members feel less anxious and more confident so they can solve their problems and meet their self-development needs.
Yes, we want people to feel better about themselves. And for some reason, this made me think about Rodney Dangerfield. One of the things he liked to talk about was his inferiority complex. Does anybody remember what he said about that? So I have an inferiority complex, but it's not a very good one. Okay, Dwayne, should you read the next one?
New members who understand the club's purpose and structure will identify more readily with the club and its members.
Thank you. Diana Paula?
They will also develop a sense of pride and belonging. If they feel that the club cares about them, they will instinctively associate themselves with the club's goal and will be less likely to leave.
Thank you. I really want to thank you, Diana and Dwayne and Kate, for helping me out with that. I think I would lose my voice going through all this by myself, and people get real tired of hearing me. So let me go back just for a sec, because I'm thinking about this whole presentation. It's a long presentation, and I appreciate your patience. And I just want to, it reminds me of a couple of jokes. Brendan said we should have a little more fun here, so I'm going to try. Why should you never insult a pediatric nurse? They have very little patience. And why are doctors so calm? They have a lot of patience. So I appreciate your patience with us today. Okay, now, the next part of the interview is I'm just going to ask people to give me yes or no to these questions. And this kind of helps them warm up to talking about their real needs, why they are really there. Do you wish to improve your ability to persuade or convince others, put ideas across clearly and understandably, improve your self-confidence before a group of people, think clearly and quickly and clearly under pressure, become skilled in group leadership, listen effectively and critically, tactfully evaluate someone, and gracefully accept? I've never had anybody say no to any of those. So I have them marked. I mark yes on all of those, and then we go forward to their real questions, determining their needs. And here's the questions. Dwayne, can you read one?
What objectives do you hope to accomplish as a member of this club?
And Diana?
Are public speaking or leadership skills a requirement of your job or profession?
And Kate?
How would you describe your current skill level as a speaker or leader?
And Dwayne again.
Why did you choose to join a Toastmasters club?
Diana?
What can the club do to help you accomplish your goals?
Okay, important. Record the answers that these people give to you. You may be going back to these answers. If you record them and save them, you may be going back to these answers for the rest of this new member's career. From time to time, they may need to be reminded of why they joined Toastmasters in the first place. So I like to use a spreadsheet, and I'll make it available to you afterwards. And in the spreadsheet, I like to have a worksheet or a page for each new member. And when they tell me about their needs, I like to take notes on their spreadsheet page so that I can refer back to it as we move along in their Toastmasters experience. I like to keep track of each speech date and assignment on a spreadsheet so that I can see what comes next. What is the next speech that moves them towards completing a level? So I make these brief notes on a spreadsheet page. And then if I can, I like to assign these new members a specific week of the month that they will give their speech on. So if we have like 10 members that are working on their goals, or maybe if I have 8 members, I can give 2 people each week. I have a different 2 people, and they'll know ahead of time when their speech is going to be due. And if we had like 15 people, so we got up to the point where we used this method, and we had 3 speeches every week. People were prepared. They had a month to prepare, and it was really exciting. And not only that, but like I said, we had 19 level completions. We were just supercharged. People were really moving forward and learning a lot. Now, let me go back here because this is talking about education. And I just wanted to make a comment or a question, had a question about education. That has to do with teachers. Since I'm teaching today and we're talking about education, I'm saying, my question is, what is a teacher's favorite nation? What is a teacher's favorite nation? The answer is the explanation. Okay, so now we're going to establish a social contract. We talked about that. And this involves 3 processes. Dwayne, would you read this one?
Relate the new member's performance discrepancy to participate in your club's programs and activities.
Okay, a performance discrepancy is a gap. They want to be to a certain level and they haven't reached it, and they're wondering, how can I bridge that gap? Has anyone ever ridden the subway in London? Anybody ridden the subway in London? When you get get on and off the subway train, what do you hear? Anybody? Mind the gap, mind the gap, mind the gap. Well, that's what we've got here. We've got a gap, a discrepancy, and we're going to show them how Toastmasters is going to help them bridge that gap and fix that discrepancy. So we're going to explain what the club can do to narrow or eliminate the discrepancy, and then discuss what the club expects. So the club is going to give you something, but the club is going to expect you to give something in return. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so the first process is identify the performance discrepancy. Dwayne, can you read that?
The first process is probably the most difficult part of the orientation because you can't prepare for it. You'll essentially be reacting to what the other person has said during the first step.
Anna?
As you listen to the new member, ask yourself, is it reasonable to expect the results this person seeks? Can Toastmasters train help this individual become the speaker or leader he or she wants to be? In most cases, the answer will be affirmative.
And Kate,
For example, if the new member has recently been promoted to a job that requires delivering a verbal report at the company's weekly staff meeting and wishes to do so in a clear, concise manner, you can feel confident that Toastmasters can help meet this person's need.
very nice. And Dwayne,
On the other hand, if the new member wants to be a well-paid performer on the speaking circuit within a year, it's unlikely this will occur unless the individual is already a highly skilled speaker.
very good. Great concepts, huh? Okay, so the club's responsibility. What is the club going to provide to help overcome that performance discrepancy? The club will help the new member achieve results by, Diana?
Providing the member with opportunities to speak and lead.
Kate?
Providing helpful, supportive evaluations.
Dwayne?
Providing a positive atmosphere that builds self-confidence and helps members overcome fear and nervousness.
That is so profound. I just love all these ideas. And Diana?
Providing education programs that are stimulating and enjoyable.
And Kate?
Providing each new member with a mentor who's an experienced Toastmaster assigned to guide the new Toastmaster through the first few assignments.
Wow. What a package deal. There's some great ways for them to get the help that they need. But we need to tell them that we expect some things from them too. So let's see what we have here. Dwayne?
Attend meetings regularly and fulfill all assignments. Notify the club in advance when they cannot attend a meeting.
And Diana?
Work from education program and fulfill the objectives of each project assignment.
And Kate?
Achieve education awards. The Toastmasters recognition system is the means to measure members' self-development success.
And Dwayne?
Participate in all club programs and activities. A group can be successful only when each member supports it.
And Diana?
Evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner. Individual improvement is achieved through the help and encouragement of other members.
And Kate?
Build open, friendly relationships with fellow members. Spirit, camaraderie, and genuine caring are the catalysts that make meetings both educational and enjoyable.
And help bring new members into the club. It is each member's responsibility to keep the club strong and dynamic. It is also satisfying to share the benefits of Toastmasters with others. So here we have a give and take type of situation where we've told them what the club is going to give them, and now we're telling them what they are going to have to give the club. You know, it's kind of like a give and take type of thing. It kind of reminds me of marriage. You know, it's challenging. Have you ever heard of the 3 rings of marriage? Anybody heard of that? The engagement ring and the wedding ring and the suffering. I can say that because I've been married 47 years, but Henny Youngman, remember Henny Youngman? He used to say that the secret to a happy marriage remains a secret. And there was another guy who said that he was sure he married Mrs. Wright, but he didn't know her first name was always. I told that joke to my wife and she said, "That's right, don't you forget it." And then she laughed. And I always like to hear her laugh. It's kind of like happy wife, happy life. But there's one thing that somebody suggested that would really help a relationship. It's just try to go on a date once a week at 12:59. Why 12:59? That will give you some one-to-one time. Okay, cover the practical aspects of Toastmasters. Dwayne, can you read for us?
Toastmasters International is a worldwide organization devoted to empowering individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. It was founded in 1924 by Ralph C. Smedley and is headquartered in Englewood, Colorado.
Okay, Diana?
Toastmasters offers its members a Learn by Doing workshop in which they can learn and practice skills that are directly related to success in business and other areas of life.
And Kate?
Briefly explain how your club operates, when and where it meets, its administrative policies, dues structure, etc.
And Dwayne?
Describe the various functions performed by members at each meeting. Toastmaster, Topics Master, General Evaluator, Grammarian, Timer, etc. Explain how often members fulfill each of these functions and review the standard agenda of a club meeting. Speech contests are held at club and district levels.
And Diana?
Briefly describe the duties of each officer. Explain the members are encouraged to seek these officers, each of which offers leadership training that relates to vital management skills. Club and district officers are needed.
And Kate?
Explain the Toastmasters evaluation system. Who performs evaluations, how long they are, elements of a good evaluation.
And describe the Toastmasters education program, reviewing milestones, obtainable awards, emphasizing that awards are worthwhile self-developmental goals. Inform the member they will receive a welcome email. Well, I want to thank you again for your attention. We're almost to the end of this first part. And speaking of attention, I have a question for you. How do you get the attention of a country girl? A tractor. Okay, Pathways Learning Experience. Dwayne, can you read for us?
Toastmasters Pathways Learning Experience is a self-paced program designed to help members meet their goals. The speeches you give in your club will be based on assignments in Pathways. Every project assignment concludes with a speech you deliver in front of your club.
And Diana Paula?
By completing projects and giving speeches, you challenge yourself to build and refine skills in different areas: communication, leadership, management, strategic planning, service to others, public speaking, and more.
And Kate?
You have the opportunity to complete projects that range in topic from persuasive speaking to motivating others to creating a podcast to leading a group in a difficult situation.
Okay, more about the traditional education program. Dwayne?
The traditional education program is an important part of every Toastmasters journey and is a critical aspect of every club meeting around the world. It's proven curriculum that enables you to develop your communication and leadership skills one step at a time. The program is built on 4 guiding principles that have been in place since Toastmasters was founded in 1924.
And Diana?
Experiential learning. We learn by doing, by giving speeches and fulfilling leadership roles. We practice and improve.
You learn by doing. I love to emphasize that. And Kate?
Self-paced program. We learn best at our own pace and our own comfort level.
And Dwayne?
Peer feedback. Through honest and supportive peer evaluation, we grow and improve.
And Diana?
Mentoring. Experienced members encourage, guide, and support us in our goals and help us to achieve more than we thought possible.
Thank you. Okay, now we've gone through the text of the 1167J. And maybe you can see why I like to review it. There's just so much meat in there, so many inspiring ideas. But now we're going to start taking action. So Dwayne, can you read that?
Assign an experienced club member to serve as the new member's mentor. Arrange for the two to get together prior to the new member's icebreaker speech.
Yeah, and that can be challenging especially if you have several new members coming on at the same time. It may be challenging to find enough mentors to help everybody, but you need to have a mentor ready to assign when you sit down and have an interview with them for this new member orientation. And Diana.
Oh, sorry, Mike. Schedule the icebreaker speech and give the new member a copy of the icebreaker project available of Toastmasters International website.
Now I have a question here. What do you think is the right amount of time to give a new member to prepare for their icebreaker speech? Any suggestions?
Do it right away.
Within the first month.
Very good.
Right away. Yeah.
Third meeting.
Strike while the iron's hot, right?
Mhm.
Third meeting. Okay, great. Okay, so schedule the new members induction ceremony. If you're VPE, you might want to have a regular date, a regular agenda item for the first or the last week of the month, so that when new members come, there will be a spot on the agenda for their new member induction. Okay, Kate, would you read that for us?
Sure. Arrange a follow-up interview after the fourth project. I'm assuming the fourth level 1 project. The purpose of the follow-up interview is to discuss the members' progress and reaffirm their commitment to continued self-development.
Thank you. Okay. And then have the members select a pathway. And this is, it's so wonderful that they have the assessment. You can guide them to the assessment. People love to have a self-assessment to help them make a decision like that. Okay, so we have gone through the 1167J, and what do you think? Any comments about it?
Good form.
Yeah, the next thing we're going to go to is my spreadsheet that I've done, and I love this 1167J so much that I have actually put the entire text on the right side of my spreadsheet, and then I have my tracker information on the right side. So let's see if I can get to where I need to go now.
You're going to post it in chat? Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Nice.
So can everyone see that?
Can
The
you post
spreadsheet
it in
here?
chat? Can you post the format in chat, please?
Post the format in the chat.
Yeah, a link to this.
I'll link this. I can send you a link. I can send you a copy. If you just send me your email. Let me put my email in the.
Oh, that's a good idea. And then we can just request them from your email.
Yeah, let's see if I can do this. Make it to everyone.
Mike, Ananda here. I had a question.
Sure.
Is there a difference the way we go this through with a member who is brand new to Toastmasters and young because young in age, just starting on the first job and all, versus somebody in a specialty club who knows, who has been through this and he joined a specialty club?
So somebody who's in a first job or something like that.
First that, and versus somebody who is joining a second club, a specialty club, some to become a public speaker or some advanced club?
An advanced club.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this might not be appropriate for someone who is advanced, but when we go through this second part of the presentation, and that is looking at this spreadsheet that I put together and having a practice, we're going to do a role play with Cynthia Stott has offered to help me with my role play. The asking people about their goals, why they are joining the club, that definitely is something that applies in every situation. Okay.
Can you mute that person that's talking on the phone? Oh, he stopped. Okay.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that you've covered here, and I think that one thing that would support all the work that you've done here in this display is I give a speech to my clubs once a year on the 10 Toastmaster promises, which really outlines everything that you're going through. This not only helps refresh to the mature members what our responsibilities are to the club, but also reinforces to the new members the introduction of the 10 promises. And that's found on the new membership application. It's something that I try to, when I sign somebody up, to point that out to them.
Thank you for bringing that up. I support you 110% on that. I love the going through those promises. So that is definitely something that you could bring up here. Okay, so does everyone have my email address now?
Yeah.
I'll put it in one more time in the chat. Okay, Cynthia, are you about ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, so Cynthia is going to be my new member. And
I'm going to go off
through
my experience when I first joined Toastmasters.
Yeah, okay.
And I worked at the Federal Reserve as
Yeah.
a bank examiner. So
here's my spreadsheet. Be happy to share it with you. And to start with, I have the whole text of 1167J on here, and I just love reading it and being reminded of all those good things, kind of like being reminded of the promises. But then we get down to the nitty-gritty where we start asking questions. So we have here Cynthia Stott, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Cynthia, what's the best way to contact you? Phone, email?
Phone.
Email, phone, okay.
Yeah.
And what's your occupation?
A bank examiner.
Bank examiner. Okay. What would you say your accomplishments and interests are briefly?
Interests are like kayaking, anything to do with the water, swimming, kayaking. Accomplishments, well, becoming a bank examiner, becoming a certified credentialed bank examiner. It's not an easy feat. It takes several years.
Great, okay. All this is valuable information that we want to have for the future. So let's see, you're a bank examiner and you like kayaking, swimming, and a big accomplishment was becoming a credentialed bank examiner, right?
Yep.
Okay, how about personal and career goals, real briefly?
Well, I'd like to be a better bank examiner. I often cite banks for violations. I have to assign civil money penalties to them, and it's really bad news. And I would like to be able to deliver it to them in a way that they could hear what I have to say and make some changes.
Oh, okay, so you'd like to be a better examiner because you often have to cite banks for violations, and you'd like to improve your speaking for that, right?
Yep.
Okay, and did you have a sponsor?
Yes, I did. I think it was Maria.
Maria, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I want you to give me some yes and no answers on these questions. Do you wish to improve your ability to persuade or convince others?
Yes.
Okay. And put your ideas across understandably, clearly and understandably,
Absolutely.
and improve your self-confidence before a group of people.
Yes, especially CEOs and board of directors.
Think quickly and clearly under pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Become skilled in group leadership.
Yeah, because I have to lead a team of examiners on every examination that I'm the examiner in charge. Different team every time.
You lead a team when you're examiner in charge. How about listening effectively and critically?
Absolutely.
Tactfully evaluate someone else's efforts.
Yes.
Gracefully accept helpful criticism.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to
That
ask
would help
you,
me get promotions, I think.
now I'm going to ask you some specifics. So what objectives do you hope to accomplish as a member of this club?
To be more comfortable delivering difficult information and getting people to make changes. That's the hard part.
Be more
Effective and clear communication of what needs to be done.
Be more comfortable delivering difficult information was one of those, right?
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Well, and be clear and effective at communicating what needs to be done.
Be clear and effective communicating what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are public speaking and leadership skills a requirement of your job or profession?
Yes.
And how would you describe your current skill level as a speaker or leader?
I was a beginning speaker at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beginning speaker. Okay. And do you have any special concerns about speaking in front of an audience or group?
Yeah, that I can handle difficult situations with them, hard questions. Think on my feet.
Handle hard questions and think on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So why did you choose to join a Toastmasters club?
Well, it was convenient and my employer paid for it, paid my dues. But even more than that, I wanted to be able to effectively communicate with people. And I believed that Toastmasters could help me because I had seen one of my coworkers get 4 promotions because he was in Toastmasters. And he was now leading the facilitating meetings for Janet Yellen.
Wow.
And
4
he probably made
promotions.
about $80,000 a year more because of Toastmasters.
Wow.
Whoa. It's like Dwayne, huh? Double the
Yeah.
pay. Good job, Dwayne. Okay, so it was convenient, your employer paid your dues, but you want to be able to effectively communicate, and you're impressed by one of your co-workers who got 4 promotions and increased his pay by 80,000 a year and works with Janet Yellen.
Yeah. The first female chairman of the board of Federal Reserve. Chairman of the Federal Reserve. She was the very first female, and she was excellent.
Oh, so you work for the Federal Reserve Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, what can the club do to help you accomplish your goals?
Give me opportunities to speak and lead.
Opportunities to speak and lead, right? Okay, we're getting close to the end here, and I just want to go briefly through this. As I go through, I repeat, well, they haven't heard it yet. We talked about it, but they haven't heard it yet. I tell them what the club is going to give them, providing opportunities to speak and lead, blah, 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 blah. And then what the club expects of them: attend meetings, work in the education program, so on and so forth. And then the basic things about the club. And I mean, you can see how this can easily go to half an hour, if they're really interested and they want to know, and you're telling them what the different roles are of people in the meeting, what the different club officers are, so on and so forth. And then we finally get down where we talk a little about pathways and tell them how to take the assessment. And then we finally get down to we're taking action. And so, Cynthia, we want to take some action now that we've gone through all this. And I'm going to assign you Bob as a member. Is that okay?
A mentor? Yeah, sure.
Okay, and he will contact you and help you to prepare your icebreaker, which is your first speech. It's just all about yourself. And when would you like to give your icebreaker?
Let me look at my calendar. How about the 15th?
15th, July 15th?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And we also have a new member induction that we'd like you to go through. And I think we're going to have that on the first week of July. So I think that's actually July 1st. Would that be okay?
Great.
Okay, and then after you finished your fourth project, which hopefully will be in 4 months, well, no, fourth assignment will be in about a month. So hopefully we'll be able to do this like the first week of August or something. And we'll have a follow-up to see how things are going with you.
Okay. Will I do four projects this month? Maybe one a month.
Oh, you're right. One a month. So this may take, I'm sorry, I got confused. This may take 4 months because we're only going to do one a month. So we're going to need July, August, September, October. So this is going to be around November 1st, somewhere in November. Okay. Do you have any questions before we wrap up here?
No.
Cynthia?
That's great.
Okay, fantastic. Great meeting. It was super meeting with you, and I look forward to working with you. Now, just for everyone here, I just want to show you what I have on my spreadsheet. Here's some checklist of things that I want to make sure that people go through. They get their welcome email. They get a copy of the Toastmasters Promise, new member profile sheet, go through the orientation, new member induction, mentor assignment. And then I will have a chart here that will follow through their progress on their first pathway. And I will make a note of when they gave them. And since I don't need all this information anymore, I'll put the goals and stuff up at the top, and this will leave me room to make some notes on each speech that they've given. So oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to ask you, Cynthia, is if you would give a speech once a month, what week would be the best week for you?
Probably the second week.
Second week, very good. Okay, I'm gonna put you down for the second week. Okay, so now when she gives her icebreaker in August, then September is gonna be the second week of September. She knows that she's gonna have another speech coming up. And I will follow up with as the VPE to coach her for the next speech, because I know I can see what she's gotten done, and I'm ready to go tell her what comes next. Any questions?
No, that was great.
thank you so much for coming. It's really been a pleasure. And we're about at the end of our time. So
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Hey, Mike, I did have a question. So this was, it kind of morphed into your VPE role, but really VPM, treasurer, secretary, I mean, every officer plays a role in onboarding a new member. But you kind of put the focus on the VPE because they have to, I suppose, load them into whatever software, Easy Speak, FreeToast Host. Your club uses a spreadsheet instead. I just wanted to ask you, is there anything that sometimes other club officers do contribute that maybe are not VPE and VPM? Or, I mean, treasurer obviously takes the check and so on, or the Zelle or whatever they use.
So your question is, would other officers be involved in doing the new member orientation?
Right. And so some clubs pass it off to the VPE to add it to their membership, whatever their agenda software that they're using. Some will pass it to VPM and then maybe on to a mentor or something. I just wondered if you had any recommendations, because clubs do it differently depending largely on the officer's interest and how many new members. They might get 5 new members a month. They might get 1. It depends, I think.
Yeah, so how the other officers would be involved. Of course, the treasurer is going to need to collect the dues. The vice president membership is going to have to help them with the membership form, right? And yeah, so I think and the president should reach out and welcome them also. So I think everybody should be involved one way or another in helping that new member feel real comfortable being a member of the club.
Yeah. One practice I've seen, I think Jeff does it at his club in Fremont. Whatever the person signed up for the club, let's say they signed up to be, learn about leadership or learn how to negotiate, whatever their thing is, he puts it in a jar and he pulls it out every so often and says, and he contacts them, you signed up to be a member of this club to learn how to negotiate or to learn how to give presentations, whatever it is. Are you getting that out of our club? I find that to be a great practice. And I just wondered, we focus on the new member, which is the focus of your presentation today, and you've done a really valuable service to us. I just wondered, taking that new member then into a regular member, long-term member, hopefully, do you see a connection between connecting with them maybe maybe a year later, 6 months later? How are you doing?
I would say absolutely. And I would point out that in that new member orientation, you're going to be asking them about their goals.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can come back, you may put it on the calendar. They suggested, after 4 projects, so maybe after 4 months, you can go back and you have their goals written down on a spreadsheet that's just for them. So you will be able to ask them, how are you doing? Here's your goals that we talked about, and how is it going for you?
Probably I won't say the scariest, let me just say a challenging moment was a new club, and I was the club mentor along with someone else who was very busy and couldn't really attend to it. But when you're a mentor for a new club, checking that DTM box, you're confronted with 20 plus members, brand new to Toastmasters, never did anything in Toastmasters, and you have to not only onboard them with pathways, but you have to do evaluations of all the speeches until they've done a few speeches to become an evaluator themselves. And they've never been a club officer, club dues renewal, all these things. They've never done any of that stuff. And I found that to be a very challenging role. I called upon other Toastmasters I knew to do the orientation, as you say what they need to know to be a good Toastmaster, and also to help me with evaluations, because doing multiple evaluations every meeting every week was a challenge. And I didn't feel it gave them really the perspective they needed from different viewpoints. And then onboarding pathways, I called other Toastmasters to say, could you sit down with 2 or 3 members and get them signed up for paths and so on. I gotta say, I wonder sometimes about those clubs, particularly corporate clubs who have kind of their own definition of what Toastmasters, what they contract with Toastmasters to do. I gotta say that was a different situation for me as opposed to a 1 or 2 or 3 members a month in a regular club. So I wondered if you had any advice, for when you're confronted as a club mentor to onboard 20 plus people all of a sudden, I mean, it can be overwhelming for 1 or 2 people to do. I found I was there. It's a 6-month assignment, a club mentor, but I found I was in it for more than a year trying to, make sure everybody was still meeting their goals and signed up for pathways, doing their speeches, evaluating speeches, figuring out what their club officer roles were and what they were supposed to be doing because they were clueless. And their corporate was saying, oh, no, we don't. We have our own leadership. We want you just to do public speaking. And I mean, it was a challenging assignment for me. And I wondered if you had a similar experience or somebody in this group has had.
So it sounds like what you're saying is you were a mentor and you had 20 new members.
Yeah, a mentor to check the DTM assignment. You can be a club coach, you can be a club mentor, you can be a club sponsor. A club mentor gets a brand assigned to them, and they have 6 months to bring all of those 20 members up to speed as club officers, as members, and so on and so forth. But I got to tell you, 20 members onboarding for pathways, 20 members doing all their evaluations, 20 members getting them to learn all about what club officers and Toastmasters requires of that club was a tough assignment for me. But maybe
that is huge. I can only imagine, you were maybe spending 10 or 20 hours a week just to
a lot. Yeah.
all your people.
Yeah. And I was fortunate to have some connections with other Toastmasters to come and sit down with me and say, okay, we got, in that case, 25 people, and we got to on the pathways. I can't do it one by one. It would take forever. So why don't
That's why you want 2 mentors for every new club.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really hard to do it yourself.
Yeah, when I was VPE, I was retired, and so sometimes I would spend 10 or 20 hours a week getting everybody ready for meetings and doing all the coaching and stuff. I had a lot of emails that were in the form of basic ones that I was sent out, and so I had them prepared in advance. That's maybe one thing that you could use is set up emails that are prepared in advance and use those to communicate with.
Yeah, I think each person joins Toastmasters for a different reason.
I want to thank you, Kate, for helping me with the going through the new member orientation, and Dwayne and Diana. I appreciate all your help.